This is the BMW iX, the iX50 to be precise in this case, but the iX in itself is the largest selling luxury EV in India. And I've had this car with me for more than 1.5 months. And I'm going to tell you now over the next few minutes, how is it to live with a luxury EV and what do I like about this car and what I don't. So join in as over the next few minutes, we decode everything about the BMW iX. Now let's start off with things that I'm not a very big fan of in the BMW iX. The first is this steering wheel. Yes, the design, it looks very different, it looks cool, but I think the circular, good old round steering wheel works a lot better, especially when you're driving the car fast through some flowing, curvy roads. I think that's where you see the limitation of this steering wheel's design, but that's again a personal opinion. But yeah, I mean, this is something I haven't been able to get my head around. The other thing I'm not a very big fan of in this car is the way you have to depend on the touchscreen for almost everything in terms of executing a command. Now, in an electric car, adjusting the regen level is something which is a sort of a basic function, and most cars have it placed through the paddle shifters here. You press on one side, it increases the regen, you press on the other side, it decreases it. But BMW thought, well, that isn't smart enough. So now what you do is you press a button here. Fine. But it does nothing, because then after pressing this button, you still have to go to the touchscreen, press on the drivetrain and chassis, go into energy recovery in D, and then choose from one of these modes. Well, that's 3 times I've had to operate the touchscreen. And for a car that is supposed to be driver focused, all BMWs are, that's not something I'm a very big fan of. Similarly, the other thing I'm not a big fan of is the entire layout. You know, it's a bit complicated. Yes, with time you will get over it. Now I have no problem. 1.5 months later, I'm very well versed with what's where, but initially it will take longer than usual to sort of get familiarized with the overall user interface. And yeah, I mean, these are the basic issues I have inside the cabin. The other one, but that's in terms of driving. And continuing on to the last point that I don't like in the iX50 is the fact that despite it having a big battery pack, an impressive range and a large boot, you can't use most of that boot because of the spare wheel. And because the spare wheel takes up a lot of space inside, so getting those big bags in is going to be really tricky. And that sort of just takes away from this car the fact that it's otherwise such a brilliant family vehicle. You can actually take it out for long weekend trips with the kind of range it has, but the limitation of having storage space in the boot. So those were things that I don't like or I'm not a fan of in the BMW iX, but there are a lot more things in this car that I absolutely love to the core, starting with the design. Now, one of the things I really like about the iX is its design, and I know some of you will say, hey, what? Well, initially, even I wasn't very convinced. It is a polarizing design, but it tends to grow on you. And this bold, muscular face up front looks really nice, especially this large kidney grille interpretation. I know it's a bit too big, but it grows on you, like I said earlier. Also, add to it these massive 22-inch alloy wheels, a clean design overall from the side profile, and then again a sleek rear end. What you get is a car that looks imposing. It's got a bold stance. Yes, it does not look old school boxy like a lot of SUVs do, but that's exactly how I would like a modern electric vehicle to look like. It looks futuristic. Now, things that I like inside the cabin of the BMW iX, well, the list is really long. The overall layout of the dashboard is very good. It looks very premium. It is premium to touch and it just reeks of high quality. And that's exactly what you want in a luxury car. Also, this curved screen that you see here, one single unit combining the infotainment and the instrument cluster, it looks really great. It works well in terms of touch response, and the visibility, whether be it even under direct sunlight, is spectacular. So again, in terms of usability, it's very good. Beyond that, the seats themselves, very comfortable. The cushioning is spot on, very spacious. Overall support is immensely great, and that means you're always going to be very comfortable in this car. The other thing I really like about this car is this sunroof. Now, it's not a normal sunroof, it's a sunroof that doesn't even open, but it's an electrochromic sunroof. So at the press of a button, it goes from opaque to transparent and then back to opaque when you want it. So that's a sort of a very nice, cool feature, gives it that futuristic kind of vibe that an EV should have. The other good thing I like about this cabin is that beyond the dashboard, overall, when you look at the material quality, it just feels rich. I mean, just look at all the crystals that have been used inside the cabin. So all of these give the car a very rich look. So that is something that I really appreciate. Also, this layout that you see at the front, this gives you the feeling of a very airy cabin. It's already a very spacious car, and this just gives you so much more ease of keeping stuff. Also, if you're parked in a tight spot, you can very easily move out from the other side. So these are all little things that add up to the brilliant experience of being inside this car. Also, let me tell you that one thing that will impress most buyers of the iX is its feature list. It is loaded to the gills with great features that include connectivity, that include convenience, comfort and safety, including the safety net of ADAS features. So all of it is there in this car to give you that complete luxury car ownership feeling. And last but not the least, what I like inside this cabin is the practicality of the rear seat. You can see with the driving seat adjusted to my driving preference, and I'm 5 feet 8 inches. I've got loads of knee room, leg room. So in terms of space, well, even if you're 6 feet plus, you're not gonna be short on space. Even in terms of headroom, you can see the massive amount of clearance I have. The seats themselves, quite nice. The great thing about this row here is that the floor is completely flat, the seat is completely straight, and that means because it's a wide car, you can actually have 3 adults sitting in this seat comfortably. It's got enough space. The seat in terms of cushioning is great. The side support is nice. Even the backrest angle is nice. The cushion armrest is very comfortable. And as a result of all of these things, and the fact that you get your air conditioning controls here, and that you can also place your iPad or your tablet here and have screens for yourself, and all of these things make the BMW iX not just a regular luxury car, but a car that has a well thought and a practical cabin for its occupants. Continuing with things that I really like about the iX50 is, first of all, let's talk about the driving bit. Now that's something I really like. Now for an SUV that's almost 5 meters long, and it is quite heavy, it's 2+ tons. But keep in mind that despite the size and the width, it's only above 2 tons, and that's because of the carbon fiber that has been used in the structure. So the entire sort of the tub or the passenger cell is made out of carbon fiber, and that keeps the weight in check, as a result of which you get explosive performance as well as good range. Talking of performance, well, it's a 111.5 kilowatt hour battery that you've got here, and it will do 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds. Now that's crazy for a vehicle that weighs over 2 tons, and it's got close to 520 horsepower, 765 newton meters of torque, and it's really fast in a straight line, and that makes it quite fun to drive. Around corners, you will be surprised the way this thing can dance around corners. Yes, it is big, it is heavy, so it doesn't go around like a sports car. You wouldn't expect it to, but it still manages to mask a lot of weight around corners, and that's how great this car handles. Also, in terms of ride quality, it doesn't put up the challenge of a compromise wherein you are going in for a stiffer suspension setup to keep all of the weight and the body roll in check, so you get a harsh ride quality. None of that. Depending on the mode that you're in, or mood as BMW likes to call it, you have a very plush ride quality. At very low speeds and really bad nasty bumps, it can be a bit bouncy, but once you get moving at a certain speed, everything just sort of gets ironed out. It's that comfortable. So that's one thing that you and the occupants inside the cabin are really going to love. The other thing that I really like about the iX is its range and its versatility in terms of powertrain. Now, with the kind of battery pack it has, 111.5 kilowatt hour, you get a realistic range of close to 500 kilometers or a little over that. BMW claims over 600 kilometers, but as per my testing, as per my running, you will easily be able to do about 500 kilometers, give or take a little under 5 kilometers per kilowatt hour. So it's a 111.5 kilowatt hour battery. You get somewhere around 4.8 to 4.9 kilometers per kilowatt hour, and well, do the maths. So basically you will end up at about 500 or a little more than 500 kilometers of range on a single charge, which is excellent in terms of range anxiety. You shouldn't have any of it. And with a range of 500 kilometers, you can actually do a lot of long distance trips. For example, I'm in Delhi. I can easily go to Jaipur, Chandigarh, or any of those places, Shimla. I don't have to think about it. And then nowadays the charging infrastructure is such that you will be able to get some charge on the highway or at the hotel where you're staying. So yes, I mean, in terms of usability, again, that's something that you will absolutely love about this car. And overall, from the other perspective, it's a very lively looking car. It's on the outside. On the inside also, the screens are very colorful. These driving modes, they also not only alter the performance of the vehicle, but they also change the way it sounds come inside the car. For example, if I just put it into expressive mode, yeah, see that? And if I change the mode to, say, sport, you get sort of the artificial internal combustion sound. Yeah, the attempt to mimic that is visible. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's a lively car. And well, these were all the pros and cons of the BMW iX50. Now you know about it. It costs for 1.4 crores ex-showroom. And well, if you are planning to buy one of these, or you intend to consider one of these in the future, by now you know everything that's good about this vehicle and that could have been better. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button so that all of such informative videos can reach to you on time, and do not forget to like and share it as well.